Hey VC, this is Ron. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to feature an album today that I recently picked up, and there's going to be a little bit of a tribute associated to that album. And you might think the first 13th floor elevators, the psychedelic sounds of, would be that album. And that's what I used to think. But actually, this album predates that album. And it's The Deep Psychedelic Moods, released in 1966 on Cameo Parkway. This album predates The Elevators and Psychedelic Lollipop by the Blues Magoos by 1 month. This album was recorded in August of '66 and it was released in October of '66. And if I remember right, October of '66 is the year that LSD was outlawed in the state of California. This is a newly released expanded version of that album. It came out a few years ago as a double album. This is a 2015 expanded version with an extra LP added to it. So basically what this is, it's the complete Deep album in the original 4-track mono masters before they added any overdubs. And the other disc features outtakes, alternate versions, demos of the same songs. And there's also a band on here called Inner Sanctum, which has also been called Hydropyra, or Hydropyro, I think it was. But that name was erroneous. They're actually Inner Sanctum. And that band featured Mark Barkan, who was Rusty Evans' partner in The Deep. And those two guys got together some studio musicians, one of those being David Bromberg, and recorded this album. And it was mainly played live in the studio, except for sound effects that were added later. And a lot of it was improvised. So it has a real natural psychedelic feel to it. So basically why I'm showing this and the tribute part of the album is because I was doing some research on this album a couple of days ago, and last night I was reading the Wikipedia on The Deep, which has just recently been updated, and it states that Rusty Evans passed away 3 weeks ago in California. And I read that and I was quite saddened because I never knew too much about him before, but after reading the liner notes about him on this album, I got a better grasp of what the man was about. He was the real deal. He had an inner vision to give the public psychedelic music and the beauty of it. He was not some phony that was just trying to cash in on something that was beginning to happen. He had taken LSD, he had written down quite a few lyrics during those LSD trips. And so what he has offered us is his perspective of the psychedelic dream. And the Deep album is basically about the psychedelic visions, but they're audio versions of the trip rather than the visual. But he tries to put into words the visual. So yeah, like I said, I read that and I was quite saddened by it. So that's what prompted me to do this video now. Show the album and pay tribute to the man. After the Deep, there came this album, The Freak Scene, Psychedelic Soul, which is essentially the Deep under a different name. And this was basically Columbia Records' first psychedelic album. The only thing close to psychedelic music on Columbia at the time was what the Byrds were doing. So this album came out in 1967, the year after the Deep album did. And both of these albums failed to chart. Rusty and his partner were devastated after Psychedelic Moods by the Deep bombed. They thought they had created some psychedelic masterpiece that was going to shake the world, and that just did not happen. So after those two albums, Rusty kind of went out of the recording business for himself for a while and went into more helping other bands, producing and that sort of thing. So then came the third Bardo. He wrote most of the music on this 10-inch. Originally the third Bardo only had 145 on Roulette. I'm 5 years ahead of my time was one of those songs. And so he was behind this writing, and I believe he produced. And then later he produced a solo album entitled Marcus, which was his real first name. And it was kind of a folk rock album. I've never heard any of it. In fact, I didn't even know about it till yesterday. And one of the songs that is on that album is a cover version off the Freak Scene. The first song on the Freak Scene album is A Million Grains of Sand. And he redid that song entitled Grains of Sand. So that would be very interesting to hear. And also incidentally, the Deep on Cameo Parkway and Question Mark and the Mysterians, 96 Tears, were side by side in the catalog number. The first was released The Deep, and then the very next album on the catalog was this album. This was the big hit. This is the one that sold. The Deep album vanished pretty much as quickly as it appeared. So yeah, in later years he kind of went into country, folk rock. He did, for 12 years, Rusty Evans did a tribute band to Johnny Cash. I saw some later photos of him, and he looked a lot like Johnny Cash, and I guess he sounded a lot like him. He was like about the best Johnny Cash tribute performer that there is, or was. So he did that for 12 years, and you know, he had, like I said earlier, he was the real deal. He had the vision, and he wanted to give that vision as a gift to everybody. And so yeah, I just wanted to pay tribute to the man, and I think that's going to do it for now. So if you're a psychedelic fan and don't know the Deep or the Freak Scene, definitely check those albums out. They're classics. And so that's going to do it for now, guys. So take care, and I'll catch you next time. And we have been listening to The Deep.